Please be seated. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures and leads me beside still waters. He revives my soul. Can't you just imagine the feel of the soft ground underneath you as you lie down and your body relaxes? Can't you just hear the faint gurgling of gentle water lapping on the shore? See the flitter of birds overhead. Feel the breeze on your face. It's such a comforting setting. It's like a breath of fresh air. Even when death itself comes knocking at the door, the poet assures us that we shouldn't even let our heart rate rise. God is with us. We will be okay. Just go back to that setting, that soft ground and gentle water. The poetry of the 23rd Psalm and the metaphor of God as shepherd seems to hit on something deep within so many of us. It's almost like a longing to be transported to that scene. The psalm was already hundreds of years old when John wrote his account of Jesus' great pastoral declaration, "I am the good shepherd." And the Hebrew psalmist was surely drawing on even more ancient tradition. As I thought about the power and persistence of pastoral imagery this week, I realized that I can easily name examples in ancient Greek and Roman literature, in European art and letters, and certainly in English-speaking American popular culture and art. But I couldn't think of any pastoral images beyond those contexts. And one day of research has, of course, not come close to remedying that gap in my American white supremacist education, but it is quite easy to see this draw to this longing for a pastoral setting is not unique to what we think of as the West. Pastoral imagery that appreciates the beauty of the earth and the care of the shepherd for the flock shows up in Middle Eastern literature and poetry, particularly the Arabic and Persian traditions. It shows up in Indian mythology and the Hindu tradition, in Chinese folklore and writings, in Japanese art and poetry, in African proverbs, music, and stories, in South American songs and verse, to name just a few. So, what is this about? Why do things pastoral speak to so many of us around the world? One piece of the answer seems to be about the shepherds, full of wisdom, guidance, and certainly patience. It is quite easy for me to imagine myself as a silly sheep. Like the one in that viral video a lot of you may have seen, leaping right back into the trench that it has just been freed from. Yeah. I need a God who will pull me back to safety again and again and again. I need a good shepherd. Shepherds know each one of their pesky sheep, like me. But they also know the landscape that they guide us through. They can interpret the subtle changes of the seasons in God's creation and the new growth along the path. Unlike the wise men, the shepherds didn't need a star to find the Christ child, only direction from the heavenly host to go to Bethlehem. They knew the way. They knew the land. And so, it is not surprising that today's shepherds, otherwise known as pastoralists, are reported to be on the very front lines of climate change, both in the ways that they experience it and the things they might teach us about surviving it. In Mongolia, in Kenya, in Senegal, in England, in China, around the world, more than 50 million people continue this work as shepherds of the flock, keeping domestic animals and moving with them to seek fresh pastures. And those pastures are traditionally concentrated in regions called drylands around the world. Grassy, arid savannas, green pastures, still waters. Drylands are highly vulnerable to climate change, highly vulnerable to what is called desertification as the planet warms. A story from the Associated Press notes that the practice of pastoralism has survived for so long because it is designed to adapt to a changing environment. Pastoralists move with the animals to find fresh pasture and water, leaving behind fallow land to regrow. Experts say it's a lesson that could help those who raise livestock at a larger scale adapt and reduce their impact on the environment. Pastoralists aren't only trying to outrun climate change, they're combating it. The work of a shepherd has never been a simple life. Jesus does not conjure a job description for himself that is easy or predictable. Then, as now, shepherds around the world are not a group centered in society. They live far from the idyllic pictures of stained glass and gold-framed paintings. They exist largely on the margins, doing hard, dirty work. The kind of hard, dirty work that just might save the world if we would follow. Contemporary English shepherd and author James Rebanks, who has rejected modern farming technology and practices in favor of the methods of his ancestors, writes, "Our pastoral system is not about maximizing productivity, but producing what we can sustainably from the landscape. It took traditional communities often thousands of years to learn by trial and error how to live within the constraints of tough environments like ours. It would be foolish to forget these lessons or allow the knowledge to fall out of use. In a future without fossil fuels and with a changing climate, we may need these things again." Rebanks adds that with an advancing climate crisis and the food insecurity that comes with it, a renewed commitment to small-scale farming and pastoralist approaches to raising livestock will help sustain the soil and support diverse species. Lord is my shepherd. I shall not be in want. I am the good shepherd. We are a people who follow a shepherd God. And that does mean that in times of trouble and anguish and pain, we can find comfort in knowing that God is there to find us and to pull us out of the ditch and to lead us to safety, to save us over and over and over. But I think it also means we are called to follow the shepherd's way of respect for and knowledge of the land. Following the Good Shepherd may mean laying down one's life. And it may mean laying down one's lifestyle. Perhaps living more simply, with less stuff, walking instead of driving, Zooming instead of flying, buying secondhand instead of fast fashion, cutting meat from our diet, reusing and repurposing, reducing plastics, and so much more. Please do not read in this a suggestion that I, a follower of the Good Shepherd, am doing all of this. I know for a fact, because I know you all, that many of you are doing far, far more than I am. I am doing my best at this moment, and friends, our best is all we silly sheep can do. But I think this twofold celebration of Good Shepherd Sunday and Earth Day tomorrow is a good time to take stock and to think about what we can do to preserve our green pastures and our still waters. And it's a good time to find comfort in knowing that even in the face of humanity's biggest challenge, we shall fear no evil, for God is with us. Our great and loving shepherd